So Somalians are trying to drag black Americans into their fight. Check this out.
But Trump based his order on a report whose author has made it clear that his goal is to denationalize and deport as many Somali Americans as possible. This is not about crime. It's not about safety. This is about purging people like me from this country. Minnesota has always been a welcoming place for people fleeing a home country that is blasted by war, poverty, and hunger. Europeans in the 19th and 20th century, black Americans from the South, Hmong.
That was a call for allyship, and they threw the race card out there. We're all black. What happened to I'm not black, I'm Somalian? And what happened to the call of allyship when y'all was scamming Minnesota out of hundreds of millions of dollars?
Somalians from Minnesota have been accused of running a multi-billion-dollar Medicaid fraud. The Somalians who are doing this fraud, they would try to get the other Somalians to diagnose their kids as having autism, even if they don't. So that would go on for many, many years, and they would collect benefits from Medicaid to specific providers. Most of that money was sent back to Somalia. Somalia has one of the highest remittances rate of about 40% of their economy. So yeah, no wonder Somalia, there have been brand new luxury apartments popping up in Mogadishu and all that stuff. There's also a neighborhood in Nairobi called Eastling that has been developing very fast. They have a lot of luxury apartments owned by Somalians, and it's a majority Somalian neighborhood. All that is about to go away now.
There's no allyship when they taking advantage of all these government assistance programs. HUD, public housing, they're not going to let you in their building that they're in. And these are the same people that will tell you, if you black American Somalians will say, hey, my people came over here in planes and your people came over here in shackles and chains. Keep that same energy. I respect that. Since me and my peoples came over here in shackles and chains in a ship, I'm porting my ship right here. This is where I'm going to port my ship. Don't use black as a race card. Don't use black when it's beneficial. Keep that same energy. You not black, you Somalians. You not black, you Nigerians. Keep that same energy. Because when it's time to benefit all these government programs, like housing, all that stuff, they lock other people out. They don't care about nobody else but their own people.
I keep screaming this from every mountaintop I can. That's Hassan Ali, and this is Ilhan Omar. We know who Ilhan Omar. Hassan is the president or prime minister of Somalia. They had a roundtable meeting with nothing but Africans talking about getting in to American politics, but understanding that they are 100% Somalian and they will never change. Now, in this clip that I'm about to show, Mr. Ali, Hassan Ali, is talking, and he's letting it be known that Ilhan Omar is there to take a black American seat in Congress.
It is very important in Ilhan tayo Somali tayo meeshas nagu jiro. Qofkii Soomaaliya oo aragtidiisu tahay nin madow ha qaato kursigaas ama qof cad ha qaato qof mool. Marka taas waa lagu dhiirigelinayaa sababtaan arrinkaasi ku soo celinaya Soomaalida oo u sheegay.
They are not here to be our friends. They are not here to fight for all black people. They are here to fight for Somalians.
So why you yelling allyship now?
And now I'm understanding, and you're going to look at, I hear they ripped off Somalians, ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care.
I'm from Sierra Leone. I came to America as an immigrant, and I need to tell you something most Africans won't admit. We arrive in this country looking down on African Americans.
Who are Africans looking down on? I'm curious, not just black Americans, but the world. When this is the bottom, it gets no lower than this. How could you look down at anybody when you're at the bottom? America has the saying, you hit rock bottom. America, rock bottom, will never compete with Africa, rock bottom. You flee from one country, one war-torn country in Africa, and they send you back to another war-torn country in Africa. These are all men refusing to lay infrastructure, refusing to build the countries they fled from. A bunch of Hussein boats on boats, right? This is what your little African boys have to look up to. These are the men. When is Africans going to return back to kings and queens? I'm rooting for y'all. This is why you don't do business in Africa. This black American man brought this land from one of the locals. My bad, leased this land from one of the locals. To my understanding, you can only lease the land for 50 years. So he decided to build houses, living quarters on this land. The people that he leased the land from reported to the government that his lease is over with. So guess what they do? They turn off all his electricity. They start tearing down his property, his buildings, his house. And people, in the midst of all this, the Africans are looting.
They're trying to steal our roofs and our sidings and stuff.
So what, they just turned up, no notice?
This morning they turned up. I wasn't here early when they turned up.
Right.
Our people were cooking in the kitchen. They turned the electric off, and then they started dismantling the building.
Wow.
So the grates, that building right there.
Yeah. That one, yeah.
The building right here that's destroyed right here. I just heard when I was in Cape that somebody put it on our site that that building was. I have pictures of that building. It's still up. They're taking all the windows out, all the doors off, and the grates, the security grates. That was the only building we had that was secure. That building back there behind the water tanks is the kitchen. So they were preparing food there this morning for the lunch that we do every day. There's a vegan restaurant.
Right. Okay.
We have this conversation like once every month, but I'm going to speak on how tired I am of the diaspora war, specifically between Black Americans and Africans. Before I go into it, I do want to mention that I've had this page for almost 4 to 5 years, and most of the things that I talk about are advocating for Black people as a whole and Black Americans to not just educate other people, but educate my people as a Nigerian American, because I know a lot of Africans can be very insensitive, disrespectful, and uneducated when it comes to Black American culture, Black American history, and Black America trauma, and lack compassion when it comes to it. And my people can be so quick to believe the lies and propaganda of white people when they come here, and they're quick to group people in and, say the ignorant things that they say. So that's one of the reasons why I started talking about the things I talk about. But I'm not going to sit up there and act like this is just a one-sided thing. Within the past few months, especially this summer, but recently the past few days, the amount of hate comments, DMs, and videos that I've seen of Black Americans making videos about Africans, not educating Africans and saying, here, look, stop disrespecting us. Here's our culture. Here's this, that, and the third. I don't have to go into details about it because we're allowed to gatekeep our stuff. But here's what you need to know so that you can understand, have some type of compassionate understanding, and educate yourself rather than being ignorant. I've had comments and people DM me and seen videos of people with so much disdain and hatefulness and divisiveness in their voice and within what they're saying towards Africans. And all of this is unprovoked.
Did y'all see Umar yesterday in that press conference shaking in her boots? You could see the fear in his face. She knows it's time to end these temporary protection statuses on these Africans and send back home. She knows the FBA just got that law passed in California to delineate from these Africans. They know what's up. FBA been making waves, and we want to delineate from Africans. But most of all, we want them to flip out of America. And now that Trump is on there, it's time for us to push for this FBA delineation. Because he sees that they're not Americans. He's already said the 14th Amendment was meant for the descendants of slaves. It was not meant for it to be covering all these anchor babies that then came into America. And most of these temporary protection statuses have been on since 1991. Yeah, 30-something years. It's time for them to go. They don't understand that temporary meant temporary. They don't give a fuck if you can set up and get out 6 kids. Take you, your 6 ashy kids back to Africa.
For example, yesterday I was scrolling on a video of a woman talking about Jesus, and she was talking about it's not just white people that's going to heaven, it's not just Black people going to heaven. And this lady got in the comments, she was talking about history. I forgot exactly what she was talking about, but the screenshots are in my video on one of my posts right below this one. And I replied to her and I said, no matter what color you are, where you came from, the point of this video is that once you gain the salvation of Christ and you follow his will, you're guaranteed to go to heaven. That's the point. And she responds and says, well, you're Nigerian, so I'm not going to listen to you. So me being Nigerian, automatically equals that I'm less than, that you don't need to listen to me. And then she goes, you can worship your oogly boogly, whatever, whatever. And I'm just sitting there like, is that how we talk to each other in the body of Christ? Is that how women of God talk to each other? Is that how we conduct ourselves as women of God? And so then I go to her page and I click on it, and she's a foundational Black American, Sulan, but she's abroad in Ghana, in South Africa. And all of her videos, she claims that she's just spreading education, and she's just saying that I'm just proud to be Black American. Yes, do that. But that's not what most of her videos are. It's disrespecting Africans, disrespecting Africa, discrediting Africa as if Africa is not the foundation of this world, that didn't create mathematics, medicine, braids, hair wraps, and everything else people love, gold, oils, soap, irrigation systems. Africans were one of the best and first sea navigators. And then she made another video of her saying, I don't look like Africans. Y'all need to stop telling me I look like y'all. Mind you, I scrolled through her page, and not one African person that I saw on her page said that she looked African at all. Unless she made a video stating that, you know, no Black Americans in America come from Africa. Somebody was like, hey, here's like history, here's whatever, whatever. But she said it with so much disdain in her voice. She was like, I don't look like y'all. I don't look like y'all. I'm Black American. Y'all look like this. Y'all look like that. As if being African and looking African is a bad thing. As if our looks are just a scum of the earth, in which, okay. So now I'm just like, this is getting very divisive, and the point and the plot is being lost. I 110% understand the need to educate and the separation from the Black diaspora, because everybody does it. Caribbeans do it, Africans do it, Haitians do it. We all kind of separate at one point, you know, to have our own alone time. And so I understand that. And I also understand educating people inside and outside of the Black diaspora, because for the longest, Black Americans have been disrespected, disregarded, and treated like nothing while making an impact on the world.
This Kenyan African lady stole somebody's identity to become a registered nurse. She straight up took their credentials and licenses and put her name on it, Christine Maturi. And she went on to practice being a registered nurse in Mesa at a hospice facility. How they find out? They did an audit, and they found something interesting about her credentials, that they were issued 4 years before she was born. They were issued 4 years before she was born. And they reached out to the person who really owned the credentials, and they was like, yeah, I don't even know that lady. And the person who really owned the credentials is 30 years older than her. And when they confronted Christine Maturi, guess what she did? She boned out. She just like, oh, shoot, they caught me, and went to go work for another facility. She took those same licenses and credentials and went to another facility to find a job. So the original one, I think it's called Northern Arizona Hospice Facility, they reported her to the police. So the district attorney office did some deep cover, undercover. They caught up with her, and they was like, yeah, we're trying to open up this hospice facility, and we just need your credentials. Write out a policy for us. Like, we gonna be in this together, twin. And she was like, got you. And they was like, no, we really got you. So that's how they arrested her. And she has a track record. She's been doing this since 2019.
The Trump administration has halted all immigration applications filed by people from 19 countries. Its latest move to restrict legal immigration pathways following the shooting of 2 National Guard members in Washington, D.C. last week. The Internal United States Citizenship and Immigration Service guidance obtained stated that the agency directed employees on Monday to, quote, stop final adjudication on all cases involving individuals from 19 nations that are facing restrictions under a proclamation President Trump issued in June. The pause includes the completion of citizenship ceremonies for legal United States permanent residents from the list of 19 countries who were on the cusp of becoming naturalized American citizens. It also suggested the suspension is an interim step while the administration develops further guidance on the vetting of the affected immigrants. Quote, this hold includes all form types and making any final decisions, approvals, and/or denials, as well as completing any oath ceremonies. Mr. Trump's June proclamation imposed a near total restriction on the entry of people from Afghanistan, Myanmar, Chad, the Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. It has also partially suspended the entry of travelers and immigrants from Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. The new guidelines indicates the immigrant crackdown directed by Mr. Trump following last week's shooting of the National Guard members in much broader in scope than previously reported. That man accused of the shooting, the 2 Guard members, one of whom has deceased, is an Afghan evacuee who entered the United States in September 2021 under the Biden administration and who was granted asylum in April of 2025 after Mr. Trump returned to the White House. The Trump administration has publicly announced a series of immigration restrictions since the attack, including a pause on all asylum decisions by USCIS, a categorical suspension of visas and immigration processes for Afghans, and a review of green card cases involving immigrants from the 19 nations on the travel ban. But the administration has now publicly announced it had also frozen all USCIS cases, not just green card applications, involving nationals of the 19 countries on the list, including citizenship requests. To qualify for United States citizenship, immigrants typically must have been legally permitted residents for 3 or 5 years, depending on their cases. So this is currently where we are, and also I want to give a shout out to the Africans that always come through whenever I make these videos about Africans, and they want to say all of this nonsense in the comment section about Black Americans. It's crazy how there's multiple stories about Africans counterfeiting, stealing money from the system. You have your own people calling you thieves, saying that you don't come directly to the United States in order to build, in order to, combine forces with another group. No, you come to take. You come to cover what somebody else has already accomplished. And if you can't cover it, then you try to find your way to put your tendrils and attach it directly to whatever it is that's already established. Like, oh, well, yeah, you guys have hip hop here, but everything that you do here, everything stems directly from Africa. Everything from Africa, No, just shut up. Shut up. Just shut up. If what you have, right, is oh so great, then you would just solely claim that. You wouldn't need to go anywhere else and try to tell another group of people, well, this basically stems, because I don't hear Africans talking the same mumbo jumbo directly to the Chinese. I don't see y'all talking this to the Japanese. I don't see y'all talking this to the Aborigines in Australia. I don't see you talking this same mumbo jumbo to those in Europe and the UK. For whatever reason, you guys have all of the gall, all of the energy to direct all of this nonsense towards Black Americans. And it's unwarranted. Because for the longest time possible, we've always tried to show love and appreciation and value and give credit back to Africa. All to realize and to understand later on that it was not the same in return. You guys would come here and disrespect us. You would come here and have your noses directly up at us. You would have your own slurs. When it is that you guys didn't have a place to stay, you guys were able to stay amongst Black Americans. Once you were able to grow, you were able to develop, right? Because you were covered by Black Americans. You weren't sticking out like a sore thumb, like the sore thumb you naturally are. Once you became established, got a business and got some degrees, that's when you started showing your real true colors. You wanted to, oh, us Ghanaians, we in here, or for the folks up there from the islands, oh, it's Haitians, we in here, and da-da-da. No matter where you guys went, as soon as you guys really made it, you wanted to really make sure you put your stamp directly down and let everybody know who it is that you are. And you guys are also the same group that would like to say, me no Black. You guys are also the same group that would say that I'm not Akata, I'm not, related to Black Americans and all this. You guys would be all the same people that would say the exact same thing. But now all of a sudden, when you have an administration that comes directly in, and now they're like, we're revoking statuses, we're banning people, we're going to stop movement of all immigrants, and we're just going to close the borders. Now you guys want to try to throw out a bat signal and talk about, yeah, we're all in this together. No, we're not. No, we're not. We heard the video of the Somalians talking amongst themselves, stating that they're placing their own in order to take the seat from a black American, because that Somalian is going to be for Somalians, not black Americans, the people who established everything so that you could even utter the words that you're even uttering at this moment in time in your little closed session. And when I look at this, I think about the fact that for me, I look at all Africans doing things of this sort. And in one instance, I'm like, you know what? I don't really have a problem with it. Right? Because you want to do for your own people and things that you want to make sure you get yours, right? Cool, no problem. I get it. It's the United States. But then I look at the flip side and it's like, you guys are doing it to pretty much try to take over the position of black Americans, to really try to establish yourselves as the, number 2 or the number 3 directly at the seat. And that's where we have a problem. Because if it was not for us, you would not be here. If it wasn't for the civil rights, the affirmative action, all of the things that were established because of black Americans, none of these things that deal with the United States were ever established because of Africans. They were established because of the blood, sweat, and tears of black Americans here in these United States. And it further goes to show the same thing that I've always said when it deals with a lot of these Africans, is that they're ungrateful. They're very, very ungrateful, and they're not trustworthy. You don't know what they're going to do. You don't know how they're going to move. But you do know that they have ulterior motives, and that any motives that they have nothing to do with black Americans positively. But then when we say things like that, we also say that we're going to circle the wagons and that we're going to worry about black Americans and we're not worrying about nobody else. Everybody wants to call black Americans xenophobic. But at the same time, all of those groups calling black Americans xenophobic were all the same groups that said that they're not black American, they're not going to identify as all these other types of things. They're going to specifically identify from the region of which they are from. It's crazy how that works. It's crazy how everybody gets their turn directly on the wheel. Interesting. And you guys are also fully understanding that black Americans cannot be deported like you guys can. So no matter what positions you take directly from us, or how it is that you use some underhandedness, or you want to use the moniker persons or people of color in order to try to lump everybody directly in, we know exactly who it is that you are, and we can clearly see you. It looks to be that your time is actually up. You've done all so much, and you come away with oh so little. Just like the woman who was here for 40-something odd years and decided not to naturalize herself into these United States because she felt like she didn't need to. She'd been here for 40-something years. She felt like she'll be here for another 40-something years. You did not realize that you were on borrowed time. And again, for a lot of you Africans, I know you're not going to make it this far, right? Because you never seem to actually make it this far in life. Just remember that you guys still to this day have to come across by sneaking. Either sneak by plane, by train, by inflatable raft. Or better yet, some of you guys decide to hitch a ride directly on a shipment boat by the anchor, potentially losing your lives. Not at a moment in time do black Americans have to do any of that in order to travel or to get to one place or another. There are clear-cut multiple differences, but that is one key difference. We were always here, and we will always be here, while you guys are steady trying to flee and find a way to get here. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.